I put my back to somebody, so.
How do you want us?
That's fine. Or do y'all want to do them together or you want me to do them separate? Because this is your first time, so whatever you want.
Together's fine.
Okay.
You call it.
Together.
Okay. All right. Well, if you'll raise your right hand. I'll put on my glasses. After me, I state your name. Swear or affirm that I will well and truly discharge the duties of Commissioner for Columbia County in all matters which require my official attention. Best of my knowledge and skill.
Knowledge and skill.
And I will so act, my judgment, be the most conducive to the welfare and best interest of the entire county. I have been a resident thereof for the time required by the Constitution and laws of this state. I do further solemnly swear or affirm that I am not the holder of any unaccounted public money, this state, or any political subdivision or authority thereof. That I am not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, any other state, or any foreign state, which I am prohibited from holding by the laws of the state. That I am otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution of the United States. That I will support the Constitution of the United States and of this state. That you are a citizen and an employee of Columbia County and the recipient of public funds for services rendered such employees. Hereby solemnly and affirm support the Constitution of the United States, Constitution. Help me God. All right, congratulations. I just need both of y'all to step up here and sign these. Oh, wow.
Brother. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am. That's your pen?
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You're
Appreciate
very
that.
welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Columbia County Board of Commissioners January 5th meeting to order. Vote day, and if you haven't voted, you got 1 hour. Get out of here and go do it. I'm going to ask Commissioner Malier to open us with an invocation.
Please bow your heads with me. Lord, thank you for this beautiful winter day, and thank you for the blessings we have, including the right to assemble and to govern ourselves. Help us as we make decisions today that affect our neighbors and the citizens of the county. And some of these decisions are not easy, but please guide us to make these decisions and be sure our actions are based in fairness and in truth. In your name we pray. Amen.
Please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Republic.
Let the record show we have a full quorum of commissioners, and I also want to welcome to his first meeting, District 2, Don Skinner. Welcome to the commission, and look forward to you making wise decisions. So, commissioners, you have the meetings from the December 15th in your packet. They still meet with your approval. I'll accept a motion to do so. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Questions? All in favor, raise your right hand. Presentation of the agenda. Anything need to be added, or are we good?
I believe we're good, Mr. Chairman.
Well, again, just welcome to the meeting. And first order of business is to elect a vice chairman of the commission. So I'll open the floor for nominations.
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Commissioner Richardson for the office of the Vice Chairman.
Sure you want to accept that? Any other nominations? I'll close the nominations, and I assume we vote, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, all in favor of Commissioner Gary Richardson continue to be the vice chairman, raise your right hand. Unanimous.
Sorry, sir.
We have one request to speak. Kevin Kilburn. Kevin, are you here? All right, you want to speak, or you want to? Well, I tell you, we can wait till we get to the item. Probably the better thing. On to the consent agenda. Actually, I don't see a consent agenda. Go straight into the debate. First resolution is going to be Commissioner Galius.
Yes, sir. From Community Emergency Services, resolution number 20-44, fee schedule. Authorization for the general manager of the Performing Arts Center, second reading. I make a motion to approve the second reading of resolution number 20-44, fee schedule and authorization for the general manager of the Columbia County Performing Arts Center to negotiate on behalf of Columbia County.
Second.
Kennedy.
Yes, sir. It's just, this action recommends a proposed fee schedule and allows the general manager of the Performing Arts Center to negotiate on behalf of Columbia.
Are there any questions? All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Commissioner Malier, I believe we're to you.
Yes, sir. I have a set of motions to amend the compensation of the clerk of Superior Court, the tax commissioner, the sheriff, probate judge, and this is the second reading. I have four. I will read them separately. Would you like to vote after each one, or just read them?
Can we vote on them all at once? We have to do individually.
Okay.
I think it'd be better individually.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 21-01, amending section 1-3-2, salary of clerk of Superior Court, repealing any conflicting ordinance, and to go into effect the day after this second reading.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand.
I make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 21-02, amending section 1-3-3, salary and commissions of tax commissioner, repealing any conflicting ordinance, and to go into effect the day after this second reading.
Second. Questions? All in favor, raise your right hand.
I make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 21-03, amending section 1-5-47, compensation of judge of probate court, repealing any conflicting ordinance, and to go into effect the day after this second reading.
Questions? All in favor, raise your right hand.
And I make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 21-04, amending section 1-3-4, compensation of sheriff, repealing any conflicting ordinance, and to go into effect the day after this second reading.
Second.
Are there any questions? All in favor, raise your right hand. Carries. Commissioner Lear, I believe we're still with you.
I am. I make a motion to approve the reappointments, a motion to approve the reappointments and appointments as listed on the recommendation sheet to the appropriate boards and committees.
Second.
This is for the county committees, the civil service, community events, construction board and like. Those are the appointments we're making. Are there any questions or concerns? All in favor, raise your right hand. Been appointed. Commissioner Skinner, welcome to the fire.
Item J2B1, file RZ2011-0, is a major S1 special revision, tax map 068, parcel 013B, located at 9 South Bel Air Road, currently zoned S1.
Want to come on down and speak? Kevin? We'll just state your name and address for the record, sir.
My name is Kevin Kilburn. That's Kilburn. Just one question before I say anything. My understanding was that Ryan Bowers had withdrawn or had asked to withdraw his application for this.
That is correct.
So is anything that I say going to have any bearing on your decisions, or should I just wait until this gets to your level again? In other words, are you going to make a decision on how this goes today?
I would believe so, yes.
Okay, all right. All right, so I'm actually representing,
And then he's going to make sure that I'm clear. He's asked us to withdraw, so we're going to make a decision on his request to withdraw, yes.
okay, so does it,
Until we vote, I can't say. I don't know.
okay, I'll go ahead and give my pitch. That's fine. And,
5 minutes or so, sir.
okay.
Thanks.
All right, so I'm representing the Hamptons community, which is directly adjacent to the athlete property, particularly Mural Lake Court, which runs directly parallel to the roads. I don't know if you've seen the property or not, but you can kind of
Yes.
understand the layout of it. So I'm obviously recommending that you disapprove Ryan Bauer's request in its entirety, with no concessions, no stipulations or anything like that for the major S1 revision to expand his business. And the truth is, he's actually already expanded his business, as you've probably seen from the dialogue during the planning hearing a few weeks ago. There's obviously a few people within our community that are buddies or clients of Ryan Bowers, and they're going to support him. But in the most part, I do represent the community as a whole, with the exception of those people. And I'm asking that you disregard what they say regarding the noise and the nuisance that I'm going to talk about as non-relevant information, and you'll see why in a second. Because whatever benefits that they come in here and tout, you know, how great and wonderful Athlete is, really has no bearing on the real issue here, which is the nuisance that Athlete has caused to our community, again, along Mural Lake Court. They claim that Athlete doesn't make noise, they don't play loud music or anything like that, but I've provided evidence to the contrary, and I hope that everyone got a chance to read the document and see the video that I submitted, and I think that illustrates very clearly what I'm talking about, and that's in only a small sliver of time over the past 2 years that this has been happening. But what I want to emphasize is that these clients and friends of Ryan Bowers don't acknowledge one thing. They're part of the problem. These are the clients who have children who run their car up and down the gravel road at an incredible speed. And you can just tell just by looking at it, it's too fast. Kicking up dust, making noise, opening and closing car doors, turning on their alarms, slamming their trunks, playing music that's laden with the N-word and other profanities and things like that. They're the clients who are over there clanging the weights, dropping the weights, racking weights, flipping a tire up, and making a bunch of noise inside the metal building, which is right across from my house, with the doors wide open. And that was one of the conditions of the original narrative, was to keep the big bay door closed to mitigate the noise, and it never happened. These are the parents of the kids who put their hands through holes in my fence that was done by someone else on the other side. I'm not sure who. Messing with my dog. Teenagers going to my neighbor's fence and pulling themselves up over the fence to look inside the yard. Nothing in there that concerns them. There's a trampoline, 2 little girls over there, so not appropriate at all. And from a personal standpoint, and I'm speaking personally, not necessarily for the community here, and I think this is the most heinous, is these are the parents of the teenagers who thought it would be cute to come over to my fence line while I was conducting a memorial ceremony for my brother-in-law who had passed away 2 years prior, retired Army veteran, as am I, and they mocked and ridiculed us during the entire ceremony as we played taps, the bugle call, and did a balloon release. And after we were finished, before I could address them, they had already retreated back inside. And the trainer, one of athletes' trainers, who was standing there, but he wouldn't acknowledge me when I yelled at him to come over so I could ask him what the hell he was doing. Pardon the language. And I found that to be completely inappropriate and highly offensive. So these nuisances, mostly noise, but also with harassment from clients, and there's also the issue of light pollution from the headlights and from the buildings surrounding and so forth, that are also issues. All that coupled together is just one big nuisance that has been going on for 2 years from Athlete, and is really disturbing our community. Most of us live less than 50 meters from Athlete, so everything that I've just described is right there in our backyard. And I would ask that we don't make Athlete out to be something it's not. It's a business. It's a for-profit business. And it shouldn't be given special provisions just because of celebrity status of its owners, or because people come in here and tout the benefits of Athlete. Brian Bowers should be held accountable for the narrative that he signed up for. And the thing is that he's operated pretty much with impunity these past 2 years. As I mentioned in the beginning, he's already expanded. I'm sorry, can you hear me on this?
Yeah,
It sounds like it's cutting out.
Very well.
Sorry about that.
Clear.
But he's already expanded his business, and he's just coming here now just to get the official approval. But consequently, expanding the business and not implementing the mitigation measures that he agreed to creates that giant nuisance for everyone. And it demonstrates that he knows what he's doing, because as we approach these meetings, he's on best behavior, able to close the door. He's able to turn the lights off and all of these things. So he knows what he's doing. I think that's what makes it worse. It's not just an inadvertent slip up, I left the door open one day and I'll fix it. It's leaving the door open all the time. It kind of appears that he's complying now because the door's closed. Well, that's not because he's complying. It's cold. He doesn't want his athletes to get chilly. So, his cavalier attitude toward any type of authority is what's also disturbing, at least to me, because I've reported the violations repeatedly to zoning enforcement, to Dana Rhodes. I don't know if you know her. Mm-hmm. And it's unfortunate because she's unable to do anything about it. There's a long, drawn-out process, apparently, that makes it kind of ties her hands. And so Ryan Bowers does what Ryan Bowers wants to do. And he's thumbed his nose at her, and he's thumbed his nose at everyone, including our community, doing what he wants to do. So in conclusion, you know, I recommend that he not be permitted to continue this. Not only the nuisance and expanding his business, but this nonsense of submitting and withdrawing requests, and I may be wrong, but trying to play the system to get what he wants, because his original zoning request and subsequent approval was disingenuous. He said 12 clients. He knew he was going to expand. What business doesn't expand? And later he came back and said, no, it was an average of 12. That's completely inaccurate. And during the Planning Commission hearing, he was actually called out on that by one of the commissioners who said, you pulled the bait and switch on us. So, you know, Ryan Bowers has demonstrated that he's not going to follow any type of restrictions of his zoning narrative, and he shouldn't be rewarded for bad behavior. He's a football player. If you're on the gridiron and you cross the line of scrimmage before the ball's snapped, what happens? You don't get rewarded for it. You get pushed back across it. Not only that, you get penalized. So he knows better. So that's my viewpoint and the viewpoint of the Hamptons community. So ladies, gentlemen, if you have any questions.
What time do they start in the morning?
I know that traffic starts around 5 or 5:15. I don't know what time actual training begins because there's a lot of traffic, which I'm assuming are the trainers coming in and prepping, because that's when the traffic starts, that's when the light comes on and the doors open. But in the past, I would say around 5:30 is when the noise starts with the weights and things like that. So I'm guessing.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. Lady.
So he's requested to withdraw. Difference between voting no and withdrawing?
If you take the action and vote to deny, it will prevent him from reapplying for 6 months. If you allow him to withdraw without prejudice, he can come back tomorrow and start the process all over again. Go through another public hearing, another planning commission vote, another board of commission vote.
He'd have to go through the same process.
Correct.
Withdraws, he still has to go through the same process.
Correct.
And any feedback, I'm putting you on the spot, from Dana? Feedback, if you have complaints, are we dealing with?
I know that Dana's been out there. I'll let Mr. Scarberry talk. He might know more about it than I do.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Out on the site at the time that we were on site, there were no violations. Mr. Gilburn has contacted our office multiple times with various complaints. Like I said, when we go out, there's no violations at the time of us being on site. We have been out in recently, I'll say recently, within the past couple of weeks, looking at all the structures on site based on the application they have in place, the one that's in question of being withdrawn tonight, of, if we were to increase the numbers. So, but as we go out, no violations at the time of.
When y'all go out, it's doing our county working hours, is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Between 8 and 5 or 8, they get back in here?
That is correct.
This in the
Probably the peak workout times. And I know you would know
Correct.
that.
With any gym, whether Evans Fitness, Gold's Gym, they're gonna have their peak hours.
That's right.
Whether we're missing that, that's. Yes, sir.
I think one of the big things here that we need to take into consideration is this withdrawal. This has worked its way all the way up the planning staff through multiple departments, multiple divisions, up to the county manager's office. Schlocker's been involved in this. I've been involved in this. The withdrawal that you have before you today is really due to us at really the highest level of Columbia County talking to the applicant and his attorney, letting them know that this was not a good location for this expansion of this business. They have agreed to that, which is why they have asked to withdraw. And my understanding is they're going to be actively looking for other parcels that may be more conducive
to this type of activity. So that, just to kind of give you a why there's a withdrawal, I know there was a mention that it might be sort of gaming the system. I believe the withdrawal probably came from the fact that we told them that there was it was very unlikely that they would be able to do exactly what he wanted to do on this property. Even with the planning commission moving the way they had moved, staff still had serious concerns about that. We plan to express that to this board. Obviously, it's this board's decision as to how you move forward with that. But I think we were able to convince him that he probably needed to look elsewhere, which is why you have a withdrawal in front of you.
Any other questions?
I'll make a motion, and I'll start the motion by saying not condoning the business or the expansion. Make a motion, I'm making a motion on withdrawal. Make a motion, approve the request for withdrawal without prejudice, RZ 201108.
Second.
Mr. Chairman, would now be the time to make a substitute motion?
There's a motion on the floor and a second. Hit it, you'll know. Oh,
You
can.
You can make a substitute motion. They'd have to act on the first motion first. If you chose to make,
I don't want to confuse the issue, but I would like to make a motion to deny the request for withdrawal and to be able to take a vote on the application.
so do we have to deal with the first one?
I mean, you can modify the vote, but I mean, that's just wanting them to deny it, so you could
Because if you vote on the first one, then.
vote on the first one, it basically tells your answer, and then you can vote on the second.
I'm sorry, say that one more time?
You can go ahead and vote on the first one, that's gonna answer your question, right? And then have another motion.
Whether or not he's allowed to withdraw. The reason I said
Good.
I would like to go ahead and have the conversation and go ahead and take a
Deny.
vote on the application and deny and send a clear message and be done.
I would,
I was always told Roberts didn't live here, but
he doesn't. I would, if y'all are so inclined, vote to deny and then just move on to the next. Be the cleanest thing to do.
Could we modify with prejudice?
we deny his request to withdraw.
Yes, that's right. And then have a motion on the zoning itself, and then are so inclined to deny that.
But that doesn't change anything with way it's operating today.
no,
He still operates the way he is today.
That's right.
that's correct.
Okay.
Whether he withdraws it or whether you deny it,
He's not gonna be
nothing
able
will
to,
change the way it operates today.
you won't be able to make changes to it. Once.
So to be clear, we vote on the first motion. If we deny the request is to let him do it. So to let him withdraw. So if we deny that request, then you can make a second motion on his application. Everybody clear on that? Want to vote a second time, then vote no the first time?
Correct.
All right. There's a motion and second on the floor. All in favor of letting him withdraw, raise your right hand. All opposed? Can withdraw. Next one.
File, or number J2B2, file RZ 20120, conditional use for a single-wide manufactured home, tax map 005, parcel 0058, located at 3594 Mistletoe Road, currently zoned R4 recreational residential. I make a motion to approve the request for conditional use for a single-wide manufactured home located on tax map 005, 0058.
Second?
This is a property owner who currently has a single wide on this property, and that single wide is what we call, or refer to as grandfathered in, but now wanting to replace that, it is a conditional use of that land, so you're voting to allow them to take the old one out and put a new one in. Single wide for single wide.
Questions? All in favor, raise your right hand. Carries.
Item J2B3, file RZ201202, Part 1, rezone for special S1, R2, single-family residential to R1, single-family residential, tax map 072B, parcel 084, and portions of 088 and 085, located at 4521 Cox Road, and portions of 4541 Cox Road, and portions of 4505 Meadow Lane, currently zoned S1 special and R2 single-family residential. I make a motion to approve the request for rezoning from S1 and R2 to R1, property located at tax map 072B, 084, portions of 088 and 085, subject to the conditions enumerated in the December 17th, 2020 Planning Commission report.
Second.
I think you did a very good job. Clearly not.
Yes.
So this is part one of two parts. I'll explain the whole thing to you at once here, if that makes sense. This is across from Evans High School. Dotted lines here are the existing property lines. You have 4 parcels here, then you have this large parcel here. All right. This parcel here is split zoned S1, R2, I believe, R2. And then this is S1 over here. What they're asking to do is to create this parcel here with new property lines. All that goes back to R1. This will then be 2 parcels that will remain S1. This is for the nursery here. That's a nursery, an existing nursery. This will be entirely residential. Your 2 votes are to contain the S1, this area here, and this area here will be R1. They're also abandoning this property line here to make 2 parcels instead of 4. That's your next 2 items.
Is that correct? Or what is the 0.77 correct with what we're creating? Or not that that matters, but
Total acres.
Oh, over here?
yes.
I believe that is for a portion of lot 73, not the whole thing.
No.
There's
There's no sanitary, which is why the R1 zoning, to go R2, they're required to have sanitary sewer. They do not have it, so if they were to subdivide this into smaller R1 lots, they will be on septic, which can't go to R2 and be on the septic.
40,000.
Correct.
Is there access off of that undeveloped right of way, or they have another point of access?
There's currently, there is some use on that. If you look at aerial photographs, there's actually a truck, I believe, on our aerial photographs. Have one.
There you go.
Yeah, if you look at it, you can actually see a vehicle sitting here, so. But it's all same property owner. Correct. There's your, if you go back, Patrice, there's your split zoning right now that we're trying to clean up.
Any other questions? Motion on the floor. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries.
Okay, item J2, B4, file RZ201202. This is part 2 of the motion. Major S1 revision, tax map 072, parcel 087, 088, 086, and 085, which is a total of 1.74 acres, located at 4541 and 4545 and 4541. Cox Road and 4503 and 4505 Meadow Lane, currently zoned S1 special. I make a motion to approve the request for a major S1 revision for property located at tax map 072B, 087, 088, 086, and 085 to alter the property line subject to the conditions enumerated in the December 17th, 2020 Planning Commission report.
Second.
Any other discussion on this matter? All in favor, raise your right hand.
Item J2B5, file RZ 201203, which is a major PUD, Plan Unit Development Revision. Tax map 081, parcel 544.30 acres located at 612 Wimbrel Court, currently zoned PUD Plan Unit Development. Make a motion to approve the request for a major PUD revision for property located at tax map 081544 to allow a retaining wall over 6 feet in height to be constructed, with the side setback subject to the conditions enumerated in the December 17th, 2020 Planning Commission report.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
So here you have a property property owner who's looking to have a retaining wall built. Actually, it's already sitting out there. They do encroach into the setback. Well, Patrice. They do encroach into the setback, which is why you're hearing this matter. It is taller than 6 foot. It is a permanent structure in the setback. It requires a variance if you're going to allow it. You will also, your very next item will be the neighbor to this property, asking for the same variance to bring their retaining wall into the setback to create a common retaining wall with a cold joint on the property line that will actually function as one retaining wall. So you get two motions. This one is for 612, the next one's for 614.
This wall has already been built.
I believe so. Mr. Scarborough, it's already been built, correct? It's there.
When did they request?
Get it permitted? Well, I guess not.
That's quite a retaining wall. That's
The big one.
monster.
10 foot tall with a 6 foot fence on top of
That's
it.
right, so it's gonna be a total of 16 feet when it's all done. I think that's important. It's an engineered wall. I mean, we're watching it go in, but it's a big retaining wall.
We were watching it, but they had not asked for,
Applied, the date of application was November 5th of 2020, and I'm not sure
The clarification there is that it's related to wall itself being within the setback. Wall within the building envelope, if you will, only requires a permit from standards. That's not the issue at hand. So most of what you see in the picture here, not all of that, is within the building envelope and is legitimate from building permit standpoint, as long as they've pulled that. When they wanted to tie that into, say, the property line and obviously tie in and property, that's when the request became required.
so it's not whether they can have this that we already see, because
Right.
that's a different subject. It's whether they can extend it out into the setback and across the property line.
Setback to the property line.
To touch the other one.
But they're both cool with it.
they're both applying for the same variance, so they can actually tie their walls together.
This is facing the, or the front, or?
Go back.
I
In the
think
river.
house is-
If you look here, this is the driveway here into the garage, the retaining wall's back here. I think the front of the house is actually here, though. So, front of the house faces the road with no driveway. The driveway enters the rear of the house, but there's neighbors on that side also. Dual frontage lot. A road here and a road here.
But the retaining wall is on the back of the house, or side.
On the rear of the house. Depending on that, based on the address, we'd say it's on the front of the lot, but it's in the rear of the house. That makes sense.
Because this is addressed currently off of Wimble Court. Currently addressed here. They have the house from the other way. There has been, I think it's important for the commission to know, there has been some discussion about the possibility of them being able to access it from this road. That's not before you tonight, but that's been
I think that
Next
comes
time.
up,
That's the
planning
very next time.
commission Thursday night.
correct.
Right. Yeah, but that's for this parcel here. That's just looking, that you'll take action on the next item. They're also asking for their driveway to go to the other road.
Other questions? Motion on the floor, all in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Carries.
Item J2B6, RZ 201204, Major PUD Plan Unit Development Revision, Tax Map 081, Parcel 543, located at 614 Wimble Court. Currently zoned Plan Unit Development. A portion of this request was postponed from to the January 7th Planning Commission. I guess that's the plan we're talking about, a lot. Okay. I make a motion to approve the request for the major PUD revision to the property located at tax map 081543 to allow retaining wall over 6 feet in height to be constructed within the side setback, subject to the conditions enumerated in the December 17th Planning Commission report.
Second. Any other discussion?
The tie-in point, so that's where the one you just approved would tie to this proposal here. And again, only tonight, you're only taking up the setback variance, not the driveway variance.
Right. Questions? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Motion carries.
Item J2, B7, file RZ 201205, rezone from C2, general commercial, to M2, general industrial, tax map 069, parcel 001, 23.83 acres, located off Horizon South Parkway and north of Wrightsboro Road, currently zoned Z2, general commercial. I make a motion to approve the request for a rezoning from C2 to M2, property located at tax map 0690011. Second.
This property is originally part of our Horizon South Industrial Park. It was zoned M2. It was bought from the Development Authority by Dr. Allgood, who then had it rezoned to commercial. So this is a request to put it back to M2, to actually bring it back to the zoning of the industrial park that it's surrounded by. The Development Authority is in favor of this. They are under the same covenants as the industrial park, so they're gonna have to follow the same rules as the industrial park. A small portion does fall in the city limits here. He was involved in this. Doubt there'll be any kind of access to Horizon South. There's a lot of wetlands in this area. Be happy to answer any other questions you might have.
I remember changing this zoning before for this piece of property.
I remember going through it.
Questions?
Part of it being in the city is not an issue.
They don't believe they can do much in that area. I believe that area has a lot of wetlands also, so I don't think it's developable land that's in the city. So I don't think they plan on touching it.
Questions? All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Good job.
Thank you.
Skinner. Mr. Richardson, I believe we are you.
Sure. J2C1, stormwater lining project. I make a motion to approve the proposal with the Averitt Company for a UV lining in the amount of $150,899.66 for the stormwater lining projects.
Second.
So this is in Windmill. We had some complaints about some sinkholes. Staff investigated, found that we had some pipe, metal pipe that has corroded, creating some sinkholes. We ran some numbers on actually replacing this pipe with our own staff. We figure it's gonna be about $130,000 to dig it up and put new pipe in the ground. And put a little contingency on there, a little 10% for unknowns. We're right at 150. We reached out to 3 companies and got prices from them on actually pulling a liner through the pipe, basically creating a new pipe inside the existing pipe, which is much less, same cost, but a lot less invasive. There's some pools, we're right up against houses, so without having to dig these folks' yard up, tear their fences down, for about the same money we can bring these folks in, pull liner through it, have it done in 1 week versus us going out there for 6 weeks.
On the third bid was something left off because it was a huge discrepancy in that.
They didn't meet our spec, and Mr. Titus, you want to tell them what? They left a lot of stuff out of they didn't give us a full package.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Legal matters?
No legal matters.
No request for review by committee, but Commissioner Allen, glad you're here, and you were able to perform that at our last meeting. Any public comments? We do have 2 property items in executive session that we can deal with right now. Richardson?
Yes, sir. I make a motion to approve $38,521 to Four Seasons Real Estate Holding LLC, parcel 17, to obtain temporary and permanent right-of-way and/or easements for the Rising South Parkway Road widening project.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, raise your right hand.
I make a motion to approve $500 for parcel 86, $500 for parcel 078B051G, John and Sheila Wilson, to obtain temporary and permanent right-of-way and/or easements for the Rising South Parkway Road widening project.
Second.
Any questions? Other than there's a Sheila two in there, typo or.
Sheila Wilson the second, but.
Second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. I believe that concludes our meeting. The next meeting is January the 19th, right here, same time. Any other motions?
Mr. Chairman, I motion we adjourn.
Favor, you gonna second that?
I will second it.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Adjourned.
Thank you.